If you're a golf lover, join in on fun discussions about golf from the perspective of two plugged-in Minnesota golf geeks, Brad Cole and David Branstad. This is 10,000 Swings.
Hello and welcome back to 10,000 Swings. It is Sunday, June 13th, 2021. I'm Brad Cole.
I'm David Branstad.
10,000 Swings is brought to you by Jarrett Yalen with Northwestern Mutual. For whatever financial questions you have, call Jarrett with Northwestern Mutual today. 612-209-4523. Or visit his website at jarrettyalen.com. He can do retirement planning, life insurance, help you analyze your golf shop credit spend, maybe help your kids with some junior golf lessons. He does a little bit of everything. The guy can really dabble. So if nothing else, give him a call today, talk with Jarrett, see what he can help you with, and hopefully he'll answer after you tell us that you heard about him on our show. We've got a great show
Jared,
this week.
Go ahead, I'm just curious, like how much of your time this week is spent with golf shop credit?
Not as much. I've actually been trying to figure out. So first I went from just get it inside 10 feet and it's good. Then the last show, it was ball retriever length. Now I just kind of feel like I should just be able to show up right in my score and just hang out at the 19th hole and wait for everybody.
Yeah, that's where we've got you at. I think it's just kind of everybody wins if we go that direction. So, folks, I don't know if you've heard, but we do have a great show this week. So we've got the Palmetto Championship at Congaree, the American Family Insurance Championship, kind of a fun little Wisconsin spin there. The U.S. Open at Torrey Pines. We have a full preview tonight for the big event next week and much more. But now our guest, as you already heard, the wonderful, beautiful, soothing sounds of Jarrett Yalen. Jarrett, how we doing, buddy?
I'm here because I love the low country and I don't want to be fined.
Marshawn Lynch, everyone. Marshawn Lynch is now doing golf podcasts. That's good. We don't want to get fined. You love the low country. So, Palmetto Championship. We're in South Carolina. New tour event. Jarrett and Branny, take it away on like a little bit about the background of the course, why this event happened, what the low country means to you. What do we got here?
Jarrett, go ahead and rock it.
Well, I think what's interesting this year with, due to the pandemic, you've got so many different courses that have entered the schedule, whether they're one time or whether we had to, call off the Canadian Open and switch something with this particular tournament at Congaree. I think what's really interesting is this course specifically was designed by Texas billionaires, right? So you got a bunch of guys that obviously want to give away some money. The course opened 4 years ago. It was went right away into the golf top 100 private courses. And, I don't think the tournament, this doesn't necessarily did it any sort of justice with Chesson Hadley and a bunch of other guys that you just haven't heard of in a long time trying to heat up the course. I wish it would have gotten a little bit of bigger reception. But the Texans owner, billionaire, is, he's the one that came in with all the money for the course. And so I think there's something to be said for all of these courses that are entering the mix on the schedule on a one-time basis. But gosh, it does make me long for the old school city courses that, the legends once walked past.
It's always tough to, you're the week before a major tournament, right? So that leaves the door open for a lot of younger guys to come in and win. But it also makes that leaderboard not as attracting to many golf fans. So it's an interesting week because I like it because I love to watch the young guys come up and win. But it's like, I don't know. Am I that entertained by what's going on? So it's an interesting week.
Well, the new courses are. So can you name the 7 new courses that have been featured on the tour this year? Can you name all 7? If I
if you put me on the spot, no chance.
That's quite the question. I'm going to go with Congaree for 100, Alex, and that's about what I've got.
Okay, so right out of the gates here, when the tour schedule was released, so it starts in the fall, right? So we've got 2 U.S. Opens, 2 Masters, and 2 Punta Cana championships this year in the schedule. But we go the CJ Cup back in October at Shadow Creek in Vegas, the Zozo Championship at Sherwood Country Club in Thousand Oaks, The Houston Open was moved to Memorial Park, so a public course. The Workday, the WGC event, obviously came on board instead of the WGC Mexico, but it was at the concession, which was an incredible tournament. I think there was a lot more hype around that than the previous three that I just mentioned, specifically because a lot of the guys in the field had just played there in the NCAA title or the NCAA championship a couple of years past. AT&T Byron Nelson is at TPC Craig Ranch this year, and the Palmetto Championship at Congaree at this particular course. But then the BMW, the second to last event of the year, is at Caves Valley Golf Club in Maryland. So far, out of the 6 new courses to enter the schedule, you have 4 first-time winners. Kokrak at Shadow Creek, Carlos Ortiz at the Houston Open, K.H. Lee at TPC Craig Ranch and the Byron Nelson, and now something called Garrick Higo for the Congaree Championship.
And it's interesting that you introduced the winner this week with something called Garrick Higo. Garrick Higo is on a heater right now. I believe, Jarrett, this is his 4th win in 9 months. Is that correct?
4th win in 9 months and 3 in the last 3 months.
Yeah, so obviously heat check at this point, right? This is his second PGA Tour event. So I think it was his first one, the PGA at Kiowa, correct?
Yeah, T64, and the last 4 tournament, his 4 wins, 19 under, 25 under, 27 under, and 11 under. So this kid can go low.
Yeah,
dude, this guy's legit.
And he's 22, right? I think that's something that we all need to remember. Like, he's 22, so what does this look like? You know, how many players go and get their first PGA Tour win at 22? I don't feel like
look
there's...
Look at what this just opened up for him. Like, he's now a PGA Tour member. He's got an invite to the Masters. He's got exemptions to almost everything now for a while. This is a really big deal for him, even after he slammed the European Tour.
Yeah, it's impressive. So I believe he's, top 60 in the world. He's going somewhere quickly and pretty impressive at that age. I thought it was interesting. I believe we had 3 players in the top 14 from South Africa. So we had Higo, and then in 10th place, Eric Van Rooyen from the U, and then another player from South Africa, Wilco Nienaber. So kind of interesting to see all of these players coming from there and all playing well this week. Eric Van Rooyen's an awesome story. Last time we talked about Eric, he had a pretty unfortunate Friday at the PGA Championship for a variety of reasons, and clearly has been able to get his game back together quickly. So very fun to see him get a top 10 this week, and could be a great pick next week at the U.S. Open, where, what did he shoot on Monday? I believe it 12 under for 36 holes on Monday, the longest day of golf at the qualifier in Ohio for the U.S. Open. So pretty darn impressive playing right now by Van Rooyen. I'm excited to see him play in the major this week. And that's kind of, I guess, the gist of the week. Dustin Johnson took 10th. Pat Perez, Matthew Fitzpatrick 10th. Not a ton of top names at the top of the board. Brooks Koepka missed the cut. Lucas Glover was my choice this week, and he missed the cut by a lot. I figured a guy that was a member of the club might be a good guy to take for the first time you have an event, but clearly he didn't know the course well enough. I'm not quite sure what Lucas Glover was going through, but he shot some pretty high scores, a little 76, 73, to miss the cut by quite a bit. So interesting week, right, kind of weird.
So I'm going to date all of us here because we're all about the same age here. Did you guys see who else played in this event? John Smoltz.
Really?
Oh, you're kidding me.
John Smoltz played in this event. He finished 79th. The dude's playing professional golf at this age, and we all know the 91 World Series. John Smoltz pitched against us. Like, he's playing professional golf in this, and he finished 79th out of 80 that finished, so not great, but John Smoltz. Another side note to this is, I looked this up, in 1984, Carl Pohlad purchased the Twins. Do you know who he beat out, which was a larger offer to purchase the Twins?
No clue.
Take a guess.
John Smoltz's dad.
Donald Trump.
How about that?
Oh, interesting. Wow.
So from a clarification standpoint, I do want to note that we were talking about the Palmetto Championship at Congaree, and David was actually referencing that John Smoltz took 79th at the Champions Tour event this week.
Correct.
So, different event. 79th, he beat Andy North and John Daly WD. So, and remember, Derek Holmes just beat John Daly a couple weeks ago at the PGA Championship, and maybe John Daly didn't want to lose to Derek Holmes and John Smoltz in like a 2 or 3 week stretch. So maybe that's why he threw in the towel. I don't know what's going on with John Daly. I never can keep up with him, but pretty impressive that John Smoltz was in the field. And it looks like in that event and at Madison in the Champions Tour, he went 14 over the first day and then 2 over the second day. So that's pretty impressive playing to shoot 2 over in a tour event like that. So that's John Smoltz this week. And again, as we look at the rest of the field from the Champions Tour event, this was the American Family Insurance event in Wisconsin, also known as the Jerry Kelly Invitational. I'm pretty sure he's played University Ridge a few thousand times, and he got the win this week by 1 over Fred Couples. Jimenez was right there, the mechanic, and Jim Furyk was right there. Retief Goosen, Steve Stricker, probably his first time playing University Ridge as well. I just get a kick out of some of these. It seems like it basically was a Badger invite, right?
Yeah, and, like if your name is Gordy and you're from Sheboygan, you're most likely guaranteed a top 10.
So Tim Herron actually shot 7 under in the final round to get him back to even. Lumpy, as we know, has kind of been all over the place. Cam Beckman from Burnsville has actually been playing a little bit on the Champions Tour as well. He finished in 48th. So kind of interesting to see that. Mario Tiziani from the Metro here, some connections with the Stricker family, etc. He finished in 71st. So there was an interesting field over there, and kind of a surprise. You see some of these names at the bottom, like Jeff Sluman, Scott Verplank, Fred Funk. They would never really guess to see them. But again, then Andy North right after John Smoltz. Andy North, kind of another guy that probably played on University Ridge for the first time. These guys are, like I said, it's like the Wisconsin Open, but we're going to call it a Champions Tour event. So good stuff there.
Why is Andy North still playing golf?
It's impressive, right? Like, he's not a spring chicken. Like, he's well in his 70s now, right? Like, I think 73, 75,
I
somewhere
assume. I mean, I know he's a Madison guy, but, like, why is he still playing golf?
Well,
competitively.
Yeah, I don't think he plays a ton competitively. I think this is more of he wasn't in the broadcast booth this week. He's 71, so pretty impressive to see someone at 71 still out there doing it. And that's, I think, one of the best things about the Champions Tour, right, is that you can just get a lot of guys that are still getting a chance regardless of age, and it's kind of cool to see that. So kind of a rebirth, if you will, to your career. So that's what I'm waiting for, to get to 50 and then give it a shot. We'll see how that goes. Don't hold your breath.
Another thought from the week. I don't know if you picked up on this or if you saw this. A Bo Van Pelt sighting on the leaderboard this weekend. And, I mean, listen, good on this guy. He made $20 million up until 2015. Right after the AT&T Pro-Am in 2016, he tears on his labrum. So he has a torn labrum, gets surgery on it, doesn't play until 2020. Earns $50,000 last year, and this is his first top 10 since 2015, and he's already up $589,000 on the year. So good for seeing Bo Van Pelt walking around the course again. Only one-time winner on the PGA Tour. He won the U.S. Bank Championship at Brown Deer in Milwaukee, which, fun fact, is where Tiger hit his very first tee ball on the 10th tee there at Brown Deer. Awesome Old City course. But again, the players just outgrow it. This like goes back to my thing where you see a lot of these new courses enter, whether it's, Congaree or the Concession, which, got rave reviews, but you see some other random ones too. Brad, you and I went to Erin Hills together, and that didn't necessarily get a great reception from the players, maybe because Brooks muscled his way around there. But same thing with Chambers Bay, that didn't get great reception either, but it's a great golf course. And whether that was because the Fox broadcast or not, who knows?
No, some really good points. There's a lot of, you basically nailed everything on the head. So congratulations.
Right.
Some interesting
download.
So we're to circle back, like you just said. So Bo Van Pelt finishes at 10 under. 1 off the lead. So there's like 6 guys finished all 1 stroke off the lead at 10. And the one that we really need to dive into a bit before we move on is Chesson Hadley. So Chesson Hadley comes out and goes 65, 66, 68, and basically has this thing wrapped up going into Sunday. And comes out on Sunday, and things just get ugly quickly. Basically started on the front with a couple bogeys, 1 birdie, still has the lead. Then goes to the back and bogeys 10, 16, 17, and 18. I did have a birdie on 12, but ends up losing it by 1 with 3 bogeys to finish. So, serious question, guys. If you're Chesson Hadley, what do you think happened there? I mean, are we assuming this is just got tight, wasn't comfortable with it? What are your thoughts? Because that's a pretty tough one to bogey the last. You're playing great golf all week. 3 over in the last 3 to lose by 1. What were you? What'd that make you feel? It seems sad, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a choke. But you go into that situation and the pressure, like bogey, 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 it's an easy thing to happen. It's a very easy thing to happen. And it takes a special mindset to not have that happen. So to be able to pull that together, you've got to be able to have that mindset that, okay, I'm in this. It's 1 shot at a time. It's not score. It's 1 shot at a time. And I've got to finish this. So it's, God, I feel bad for him. Like, it's tricky.
Hadley was the 2014 PGA Tour Rookie of the Year. And he can't close the door. What's interesting is I remember seeing this training aid that he was repping and pubbing. This was back in maybe like 2015, 2016. It was a putting instructional aid called the Pill. Do you guys remember this? Have you heard of this?
Yes.
Yes.
I remember the Pill.
It's like a full golf ball with like some of the sides shaved off, right? So it encourages you to hit the ball square and put a good roll on it. Otherwise, it's going to topple over and kind of roll offline. And boy, it was frustrating to watch. I mean, even just sitting over here on this end, and you can see the nerves are just absolutely driving him nuts. And what's interesting is because there were 6 guys that went T2, that putt cost him $900,000. Winner took 1.3. Second place, which was 6 guys, went 400,000.
Wow. And again, you say that putt, which is nice, but it was the putt on 17, the putt on 16. It's right. Any one of the things could have been the leading contributor to this, but yeah, I mean that 1 stroke cost him so much money. It's just that stuff's always hard to watch, and it's tough to see people go through that. But that is what it is, and that's part of the game. It seemed like he had such a commanding lead that it wasn't going to be an issue. And we see, on the Champions Tour this week, Jerry Kelly wins by 1 over Fred Couples and the Mechanics. So I'm sure those guys went through a similar situation, right? Like, hey, 1 stroke here, 1 stroke there. But it's amazing what that 1 stroke is when it's a difference between second and first on tour. And as we get into talking more about next week in the U.S. Open, I mean, Tony Finau, I don't think anyone, obviously Tony Finau's playing amazing golf right now, but I don't think anyone would go in and say, yeah, Tony Finau's the guy to win at Torrey, but he's going to be in the top 10. He's going to be there, but the difference between top 10 and winning a major is everything, and obviously with all the the scrutiny he gets all the time. So I believe Tony Finau's only win is at the Puerto Rico, correct?
Correct.
And Chesson Hadley's only win is Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
So it's interesting, do they? Obviously, this would have been a pretty, much stronger field than Puerto Rico, so it would have been a huge boost for them. And, it stinks. You see that happen to people and just really wish it didn't happen because it's really, really tough. But that's the part of the game, and it is what it is. So, Jarrett, have you been hitting any golf balls lately? You've been to the PXG store? Have you been out working on your game at all?
I have. I've been in the PXG store a couple of times. I got a couple of new wedges and a putter. Hopefully showing up here soon. David, real quick, my question for you, I want to go back to Chesson Hadley. And you spent a lot of time growing up looping, and Brad Sater was on here a couple of weeks ago after the Colonial and really, really helped us get in the minds of what a caddy is doing and what their jobs is and what their responsibilities are. But David, like if you are Chesson Hadley's caddy and you see a guy absolutely drowning himself, what do you do? What do you say to him in that moment when you can just see the wheels falling off? Is there something unique or special, or you just have to have that relationship with your guy to know what to do?
Oh boy, what a question. So you guys always know the general rule of caddying is it's show up, keep up, shut up, right? And it doesn't apply when it comes to tour. It's unique to every individual. The caddy at that point is responsible for calming nerves, and that's what it is. And you have to figure out a way to calm someone down, make them hit the right shot, and not make them hit the shot that they want to hit, even if it's wrong or right. It doesn't matter. It's just you have to make them hit the right shot at that moment. It's I've caddied at that level. It's stressful. And it's probably the most stressful. It's almost more stressful for the caddy than it is for the player. Boy, it's a stressful situation. It's not fun.
I was listening to another podcast maybe a couple of weeks ago, and they had Gino Borelli, who is on Damon's bag, and Aaron Fleener, who is on JT Poston's bag on, and amongst other things, they had basically come up with some really really awesome moments that they had, but what are those moments that were just absolutely terrible, and they just wanted to crawl inside a hole, and one was whether it's giving them the wrong yardage and JT looking back at him like, you sure you had that number? And, turns out it was, a 7-iron versus a 9-iron, right? So like, I mean, a ton of different things, but they talked about how unique their relationship is with their player and how they are, they're basically able to talk one and each other out of things or onto things. And it's just a level of whoever's got more confidence in that moment needs to kind of like give it to the other person, whether it is typically it's the player that's going to have the more confidence because they know their game. They're the ones with the club in their hands. But every now and then, like if you are on the bag and your player better and you can feel the adrenaline going or whatever it is, call them off and double check whatever it is, whether it's giving them the right a different yardage or a different idea or whatever it is. So I think caddies don't get necessarily enough pub, and I would love to hear more from them, to be perfectly honest.
So I'll give an example. When I was, I believe I was like, I don't know, somewhere between 13 and 15 years old, and I was caddying in the Wayzata Country Club Invitational, one of our most prominent members. I think I've shared this before. And on the 18th hole, which would have been our 72nd hole of the event, I brought up the S word, shank. And on hole 18, he shanked 2 in a row. And my tip went dramatically down because he shanked 2 in a row. This game becomes so mental when it comes to caddying. It's unbelievable. And just the words that the caddy can say it can mean a huge deal for the entire round.
No, for sure. And it's everything. I mean, and that's where, if my guy gets the S word in his head, first thing I have him do is take a full step away from the ball. So the only thing he's going to do is hit that baby on the toe all day long. There's no way we get near that hosel. And then step 2 would be, basically to hold his head down for him. You hit it, I'll watch it type situation, because those where the S word comes from, right? It's either you're lifting your head or you're getting it way on the inside. So if you
here's the best tip for the shanks, and I hate to say that word, but I'm going to say it, the shanks. Put a golf club down. Put your favorite golf club down. Put your most expensive golf club down. Put your toes across the shaft of it to make sure that your weight is not going forward on your toes. Because when your weight gets on your toes, you are going to shank the ball at some point.
Yeah, I think a lot of good things come from getting back on your heels, right? And obviously you don't want to overdo that, but When people start getting a little too up on their toes, it's usually when things start going south quickly. Especially if there's any kind of a side wind, then it really just kind of escalates it. And now we're yelling 4 on 3 holes over from us, and we get a whole new bag of issues. No, that's some really good tips there, Branny. So Jarrett, you talked a little bit about you have some new toys coming in the mail. For those of you who want to be like Jarrett Yalen, not just financial planning wise, but if you want some new golf clubs, go check out the new PXG store today. And again, our show is brought to you by Parsons Extreme Golf, PXG. They've got Gen 1, 2, 3, 4, all those different generations of clubs available. So you got a variety of price points you can get right now at the Southdale store. Please call the store, make an appointment, or just swing by and go see those new Gen 4 clubs and maybe see how they stack up versus Gen 3 or Gen 2. They've had a lot of success with what they're doing there, and now they're opening more stores like that all over the country. So go in and see those guys today at PXG and make sure to tell them that you heard about them on 10,000 Swings. So good stuff happening at PXG. Next thing we really want to get into this week, and the reason why I want to bring it up early because I want to make sure we get to give it its full due, but the U.S. Open is happening next week. We had a lot of different ways to qualify. We had qualifying this last week, longest day of the summer, 36-hole qualifiers in Ohio and all over the map. Incredible if you looked at some of these qualifiers. You know, the quality of the fields may or may not have been better than the quality of the field of the tour event this weekend. Like the quality of the fields trying to get in the U.S. Open Monday qualifiers this last week were unbelievable, especially the 2 in Ohio. They're kind of, I mean, it was a whole nother level. So now we have the field for the U.S. Open. And the U.S. Open's at Torrey Pines. And I want to start off with a question about Torrey Pines. Like, is that the best public course on tour? What do you guys think?
Ooh,
Boy, there's some
so
good
I did
ones.
a little bit of research on this. There are some really good golf courses out there. It might be, but where do you guys think this stacks against TPC Sawgrass? Because
Or Pebble, right?
Or Pebble, because technically those are resort courses. You can go play them. Where do you stack Torrey against those two?
I think Torrey is less expensive, right?
We'll dive into that in a second.
Because, yeah, I mean, I think Torrey's pretty awesome in my opinion. Sawgrass is special, though. It's different, right? There's just so many memorable shots at Sawgrass. I guess there's some memorable shots at Torrey as well. Pebble seems to have maybe the most memorable shots, just being on the ocean. But there's some good quality at all of those. And even, I mean, you could look at the regular tour events in a regular season. I mean, TPC Scottsdale is a fantastic golf course. I mean, there's a lot of really good public tracks that the tour plays, which I think is really cool that they play as many publics as they do. But it's interesting. I think Torrey's right there. And again, obviously, we're not going to see the normal Torrey for the U.S. Open. We're going to see a totally different Torrey, right? And that's what I'm interested in, I think, is just how thick the rough's supposed to be. I saw a video this weekend of Xander Schauffele. I don't know if you guys saw that, a video of him trying to chip out of the rough, and it just didn't go anywhere. Basically, he stuck it into the ground, and it just stayed there. So what do you guys think about the rough and the way the U.S. Open does it? Don't you think it'll have to be maybe like 8 or 9 under wins this week rather than maybe like 12 to 15? Or what it was Patrick Reed, was he 15 under in the last, or when they played earlier this year? Maybe 13? Was it right in that 10 to 15 range? I'm not 100% sure what the number was.
I'm going to back this up just a smidge. When we're comparing like public golf courses, let's look at Sawgrass, Pebble, and Torrey. Do you know how much it costs to play Sawgrass, Stadium Course, and Pebble right now?
They're
What's
both
your guess?
$550, right?
Yeah,
They're they're $549.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
550 is a good guess.
Yeah, within $1. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty damn good. What do you think Torrey is for a local resident?
Is it 100?
No,
75?
no,
59.
63.
$63 if you live in San Diego, or where do you have to live? Like, what's
You
the
have to live within San Diego proper, and it's $63. The senior
Wow.
rate is 44. The twilight rate is 38.
Wow.
If you live within to go play Torrey freaking Pines.
So what is the rack rate for if we come from Minnesota? Is it 300, 350?
202.
202?
Still not bad.
202. The twilight rate's 122.
That's impressive. So basically, you could play for significantly less than playing at Sand Valley. That's something to think about, right? Like the courses at Sand Valley, I think, are all right around 300, and you could go play Torrey Pines a month after the U.S. Open for 200 bones. That seems to me like a really good value.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. And when
Right.
you're talking best courses, best public courses, you're not talking about the one stop at Bethpage Black, because that has to be up there too. We're talking regular tour spots, right?
On the standard schedule, the repeaters, again, the TPC Scottsdales, the Sawgrasses, the ones that you see every year that are public, that average Joe could say, hey, I want to go play there.
It's PGA West is the mountain course. Is that public?
Dude, PGA West might be the hardest golf course on the planet, and I hate to bash golf courses, but save yourself some time and don't go play it. It's so hard.
I believe it is public, though.
Yeah,
It is. It is public.
Harbortown is among my favorites. I mean, again, like put me in front of a low country boil with some red skin potatoes and shrimp, and just round it up with a side of chips and salsa, and we're set. We're good. So Harbortown all day long for me. It is what it is.
Jarrett, can you break down that low country boil a little bit more, specifically what you're looking for? Or so you got some red potatoes, you got
Corn on the cob,
corn on
red
the
skin
cob.
potatoes, peel on shrimp. They don't need to, like, you don't need to go and peel it beforehand. Like, that's part of it. Like, I want to work for my food. And plenty of Old Bay. Just leave the can on the side in case I need a little bit more.
No andouille sausage.
Andouille sausage, absolutely. Andouille sausage.
Crab legs.
Well, it depends. It depends. I'll go shrimp all day long. I don't need a crab leg in the low country boil, but there is something to be said about like East Coast seafood, man. It's minerally, like it's a little bit more earthy. Like I don't want the Alaskan king crab stuff. Like that just stuff is like it's too clean. It's and it's just because the Bering Sea is a little bit more cold. There's less bacteria on the sea floor. Whereas the stuff on the East Coast, like that is the minerally salty, earthy crab cake stuff. Yeah. Low country, Georgia pines, palm trees, Zach Brown band all day long.
So there you have it. We just got done with an interview with Bubba Gump, owner of Bubba Gump, and he recommends the low country southern boil. That's wonderful, Bubba. I appreciate it. That's some good stuff. I mean, it's very specific.
It's funny you bring that up, like Jared, because we are a Deadliest Catch family here. Like we watch that show religiously. And I'm dating up myself back at least 10 years, but we went to Ocean Air for dinner, and they had food from the Time Bandit, which was a ship on the show. And me and my friend Jeff, who's probably listening to this, who was on the show actually a few weeks ago, we were like all in. Like, dude, this is from the Time Bandit. I don't care what this costs. Let's get it. Let's get some crab. I want the crab from wherever. You could have lied to us. Yeah, I don't care.
The Alaskan king crab is like, I mean, they're so big, right? That like you crack one open and you eat it, and like you're kind of done. But like Chesapeake Bay blue crabs, like stuff on the East Coast, like you got to lay out the newspaper. You've got to probably pick apart 3 or 4 of them, then have your little tub of butter on the side. Then you can go to town eating with some saltine crackers and maybe an IPA or something like that, and then you're set.
I feel like there wasn't enough detail there, but I guess people can try to visualize and try to pull it together. So let's try to reel this back in. So we're talking about Torrey Pines before we went back to a low country boil on the southeast. We're on the West Coast. We're in Cali. We're one of the coolest places on tour, and since we're already talking about food, Jarrett, what do you think is going to be the number one concession food? Because there will be fans at Torrey. What do you think is going to be the number one concession food at Torrey Pines? What do you think people gravitate towards? Because obviously there's not going to be a Low Country boil option there. But what do you think people are going to be getting at the tournament? You think it's like a burger brat type deal, or what? You think they're going to have anything fun, local, San Diego food? Anything great in the San Diego market, Brandy? What do you guys think?
I would say I bet it's street tacos. Has to be street tacos. Which, by the way, I had some street tacos this week. Amazing. But I would guess that it's street tacos, right? Baja, California, right there across the border. I would guess there's going to be some sort of Do we have statistics? Do we know what it is?
I don't know. I'm just getting hungry, so I was just thinking about it. You broke down this Low Country boil, and I started drooling over here. No, it's
Brad.
always,
Brad, do you have the microwave and oven going right now? Like you're trying to heat some stuff up?
You just keep your eye on your own bobber, Brandy. Don't you worry about me. I'm not missing any meals. If there's a reason why this is a podcast and people don't get to see me in person. Like just for those that are listening that don't know me, I don't say no to food. So that's just it's always on my brain. And I always like to think like, okay, they're going to this place this week. What are guys going to go eat? Like, what do you think when guys are in San Diego? Where do you think what they're doing for food? Do you think anyone's going out? Do you think everybody's got chefs at their house? What do you think for the U.S. Open? What is the average guy going to be eating this week? Do you think Rory McIlroy is going to be at In-N-Out every night at 10:30, or do you think he's got a chef, or what do you guys think is going to be happening?
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think of In-N-Out. Oh my gosh, I'm dying now for the double In-N-Out burger,
animal style with fries, right, and a shake.
Oh.
Yeah,
Man.
I mean, there's the doctors say I have a little bit of what they call a weight problem. It's you can't think about going Cali or Southwest and not think of In-N-Out. I mean, it is the spot, and it's just
there was an actual time during the pandemic when flights were so cheap that I had thought about flying to Phoenix just to go get an In-N-Out and come back.
That's
The better question is, why didn't you?
Exactly. Why didn't I?
So we've got a ton of storylines going into this tournament. I know we got to get past the food and past the derails, but so many storylines. Brandy, who is your guy right now? If you could take anyone you wanted, U.S. Open, who's your guy?
Can I still pick Tiger?
What would you do? Want to take Rocco? I mean that's incredible. I love where your head's at. That Tiger is probably not your safest or smartest bet. Have you guys looked at the odds?
I have not actually looked at the odds, but I do have a pick. It's Rahm. I think Rahm's got something to prove. And he's pissed. He's coming back.
And when we last left John Rahm, we didn't talk about this enough. We left John Rahm in a Ohio hotel room, correct? Quarantining. And he's been quarantining. So the question I have is, what does that look like from a practice perspective? Everyone in the country
that's a good question.
Knows he's COVID positive, right? Like, do you let like if John Rahm comes to your driving range, Jarrett, and you're working in the golf shop, and says, "Hey, buy a bucket of balls," do you call the tour? Like, do you call the CDC? Like, how does that work? Like, or does he do nothing for 10 days? Is he going to be super rusty? Because he can't come back onto tour grounds, I believe, until this Tuesday, right? So he's done really nothing since that Saturday. Do we think he was able to go practice? I don't know all the details of that, but could be an interesting pick. I know he's the odds-on favorite to win, but he could be a hair rusty, just not. I mean, who knows? I have to assume they let him practice, right?
He tweeted out yesterday, he tweeted out a GIF of Rambo tying the bandana around his head with 2 negative tests in a row. That was basically the tweet. So he's absolutely ready to go. So John Rahm is plus 1,000. DeChambeau, Koepka, DJ, and Spieth are all plus 1,400. McIlroy and JT plus 1,600. Xander Schauffele plus 1,800. And Colin Morikawa plus 2,200.
Man.
Oh, so I'm going Rahm. He's pissed off. He's angry. He's got something to fill here,
And I saw Patrick Reed at 30-1. Doesn't that seem like a real nice pick?
Hovland and Matsuyama are right there with him at 30-1. I mean, Finau's 33-1, Scheffler, Webb Simpson, and Zalatoris 40-1, and then you've got a whole bunch of guys that are 50-1 that you might want to take a flyer on in your draft league. But I think Rahm is the odds-on betting favorite. I think that he's coming. He's mad. He's angry, and to be perfectly honest, like he's at the top of his game. Like he was running away with the Memorial. Like we forget that he was absolutely running away with that until he was called off.
Yeah, no, it's a really good point. So, Bryson at 14-1, Brooks at 14-1. What do those guys look like, right? I mean, what is that week going to be like for the two of them?
God, I hope they get paired together.
I mean, wouldn't that be awesome? Is there a way that there's no way the tour does it, right?
No chance. No. Although that would run up the social media engagement at a very, very high level. Like you have to be honest.
Yeah, it could be.
What if this new Premier Golf League was Brooks and DJ and all these guys are just feuding with each other? Let's just put like 4 guys in a box and let's let them duke it out for four rounds.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, this Premier Golf League could be so many different things, and they have so much money, right? So I know the talks keep happening with agents. There keeps being more and more chatter, but who knows if they'll get anyone? And who knows? The Premier Golf League could just go be like Bryson DeChambeau versus Patrick Reed every week, right? I could see where they're both like, yeah, I'll take the money, and it's just the two of them. Like, it's like when you say like, hey, we're gonna meet you at Bob's at 6:00, and nobody else came. You're the only one that's there. And you're just kind of hanging out, and then like one other guy comes, and you don't really like him, but you're like, well, I guess I got to do it because I said I was going to be at Bob's, but no one else went to Bob's. Like, are Bryson and Patrick Reed going to be the only 2 guys that show up at the Premier Golf League? And they're like, well, they said there's 25 million each week, so let's go, and they just go, kick each other's teeth in every week. I mean, would you turn in and watch it, or would people just say, would it have the worst ratings ever if it was Patrick Reed and Bryson DeChambeau, the only 2 guys in the Premier Golf League? Thoughts?
All right, let's do it this way. Let's make this the XFL version of this, okay? So let's have Brooks, Bryson, and Reed, a threesome, 4 days in a row, and let's make this XFL. I mean, do you guys remember XFL? I know we're dating ourselves here a little bit, but
you hate me.
I mean, we're body slamming. We are avoiding all rules when it comes to football. It was entertaining for I don't remember how many games they actually lasted, like 7, something like that.
Could you imagine if like Brooks Koepka knocks down like a 50-footer and then he just goes and spears Patrick Reed to the ground? I would watch that. I would pay good money to watch that.
Totally.
That'd be highly entertaining. And man, and then like, what if Bryson's hat falls off? While someone hits him, like, what does that look like? And can you mock the other guys? Do they all show up wearing metal spikes and Gatsby caps? Like, what is this going to look like? I think they could have some serious fun with that, but I don't think it's. I mean, do you guys think it's ever going to take off? Serious question, Jarrett. Will it take off? Will it ever? Will they have this Premier Golf Tour? Is it ever going to be a thing? Will there be an event?
No. I don't believe it will. I think the PGA Tour is on the right path with some different things around the PGA Tour University. They're giving guys different entry into the actual tour. As for like the world golf events, I mean, I think some of the WGC events are some of the best events that are out there right now. And so those are all the guys that would play in it. I think it's fine. I actually think what's interesting and unique for golf right now, and I can't say that I love it, but it is a way that's creating a little bit of buzz, is like the Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Phil Mickelson, Bryson DeChambeau match. Like, I think that kind of stuff is fun and might keep the random person interested on a flyer every now and then. I do love Phil's tweet where he basically said like, hey, I feel like I'm in the middle of something and I'm just going to step aside right now, like tweeting at Bryson to get out of the way of he and Brooks's beef. But I think the player impact program, like this social media, this $40 million that's out there, I think that's a way to appease them a little bit, to make a little bit more money. I mean, first place winner gets $8 million. Like, this is wild. So here are the metrics. So Google search is number one. A player's Q rating is number two. The Nielsen brand ratings, so basically exposure with your brand, which is why basically Brooks went and just absolutely dropped all over Bryson with a Mick Ultra spot. Activation, right. The fourth is Meltwater mentions, so across different media platforms, the player coverage. And how about this one? This might be the most interesting one. The fifth is the MVP index. It's the value of engagement on social and digital. And oh, by the way, Jordan Spieth's dad, Sean, his company founded and created the MVP index. So there you have it. Jordan Spieth, most likely top 10 finisher in the Player Impact Program. You heard it here first.
Ooh, Yalen dropping some bombs. I like it. That's I did not know that about Spieth's dad. That's interesting to see how many times things connect to people. Moving locally, we've had some incredible heat here for, 10 days now. And it feels like it's just, I think yesterday the high was only 90, so that was exciting. But it's been just brutal.
Brad, today was like 95. Like, this sucks.
No, it's been crazy. So I've chosen to go more of the water approach as much as possible and try to stay near water and avoid playing much golf. But there's plenty of people out golfing. If you're out golfing right now or you're at the lake, we have a new sponsor of the show, Corona Premier. So Corona Premier, same great Corona taste, but only 100 calories and 90 calories and 2.6 carbs. So wonderful to get something that light. And again, if you're going to have one of those this time of year, make sure you're washing it down with the water afterwards. But Corona Premier, very, very refreshing. Doesn't even need a lime. Just ready to go as is. Very nice beer drinking this time of the year. So that being said, we start talking about local weather and how hot it's been. Courses are super dry and they're super firm and, they're watering like crazy. So when you guys are playing this time of year, Jared, are you a Tommy Two Gloves kind of guy? Like, are you putting out the rain gloves when it's this hot? Are you not going that route? Are you trying to play more bump and run and just maximize your distance? What are your thoughts when the weather's like this?
I don't, maybe this is just me, but for one thing that I do randomly between every single shot, I'll always take off my glove, but I don't tuck it in my pocket at all. Like, I'll hold on to, whether it's like the little Velcro tab or whatever it is, and just so it's kind of like airing out. Like, I don't shove it in my back pocket until I actually get to the putting green, and then I don't have a free hand for it, but it does keep it a little bit dry. I go cold towel on the neck when I'm in trouble. There's a good story about there, Almy, with Jeff Kaiser. He'll attest to this. This was maybe like 8 or 10 years ago. I had to take a knee. I took a knee on the 16th tee box at Windsong. I was in trouble, but it was a classic, didn't eat anything, didn't hydrate. I'm too tough. Maybe the cigar got the best of me right at the turn. And then next thing I know, I'm on a knee on the tee box and I need a minute. Carrying at the same time, in 90 plus degree heat, trying to prove something. I think, as a matter of fact, in that foursome, all three guys got a push card at the turn, and I decided that I was going to be Captain America and keep going. But nonetheless, it's brutal out there right now. And if you're finding the rough, you may as well be hitting out of like straw right now. It's just not even fun to hit out of because you don't even have like a nice fluffy lie.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely brutal to try to play golf right now. But early mornings are good, get some fresh cut greens, a little cooler. Brandy, what are your tricks of not having heat exhaustion while standing on the lesson tee at this type of temperature?
Well, first of all, I can't even mow my lawn at the moment because it's so thick. My lawnmower is dying every 15 minutes. On the lesson tee, I'm gonna be honest. I'm ice towels. I throw a towel in ice and it's all over me. I probably drink 20 bottles of water a day, and I say I drink 20 bottles of water a day, and I'm not going to the bathroom. It is It is hot, so this weather stinks. But you know what? It is what it is. It's Minnesota. We're out golfing. We're all golfers, so it's great. Let's bring it on. Heat is heat. We're gonna deal with it, and we're gonna deal with it great. My best suggestion to golfers out there is just stay hydrated. That's the biggest thing. Limit your practice swings as well. Think of it this way: if you take a practice swing or two for every single shot you take, you've tripled the amount of swings you've taken in a round of golf. So if you can just eliminate some of those and just trust your swing, think of how many less swings you're taking through a round of golf and how much less effort that's going to take through a round of golf. I mean, take an average golfer that shoots 100. Let's just say you have 40 putts as an example. So you're taking 60 swings somewhere in there, whether it's chips, pitches, or full swings. But you take 3 practice swings, that's 180 swings in one round of golf.
That's a great point, and I didn't even think about this, but maybe I would get less warm out there if I took less waggles.
It's the waggle policy, Brad.
Yeah, the waggles. Maybe I'll try to cut them back. So, it's a great conversation right now. Try to figure out how to play, and obviously the courses are a lot different too, right? So, you got to land it in different spots, and you just don't know what spots have been well watered, what spots have not been, because it's most courses have their dry spots, right? They have spots where they miss the perfect watering. So it's a big difference between hitting where it just been watered or the sprinkler was stuck for a while and just kind of kept watering over and over, and then the hard pan next to it. I actually watched. We were playing our member guests today at Rum River Hills Yacht Club, and one of my best friends from college flew in for the event, and we're on hole 4, and it's a short little par 3, and he chunks a pitching wedge, and he chunks it right to the front of 4, probably about 35 yards short of the pin, and he hits, normally it's an area where the ball just kind of sucks up, right? It just doesn't go anywhere. It just kind of goes into the ground, and that's it. The ball rolled out to 1 revolution short of a hole-in-one. And it was truly amazing because it had some good overspin, from the chunk and run with the pitching wedge. But it hit the hard pan just perfect and rolled all the way out. It rolled so far and had to stop 1 revolution short. And my buddy actually was glad that it didn't go in because he said he wouldn't feel proud having that be a hole-in-one because it was like slop and pool, right? It didn't feel right. So it's challenging right now. You got to play it. You got to be very strategic about your bounces, your rolls. Everything's different, and it's just good to have some of those thoughts that it's not the same golf course that you normally play. Now, I will tell you this: some people it doesn't change their game at all, and some people being Angus Flanagan. Are you kidding me? This kid, did you guys see this week? The TAPEMARK, the Angus Flanagan Invitational. He won by 10 shots.
Awesome! It's awesome stuff. It's so fun to see.
10 shots. I believe this has to be probably his first professional tournament, right, Brandy? I would assume.
Yeah, it's got to be his first professional tournament.
I think so. So he takes home the $5,000 check, 66, 65, 67 at Southview. I don't know if I've ever seen a more consistent golfer in my life. He just doesn't make mistakes. And
he's got full Corn Ferry Tour status next year. Dude, this kid's legit. This kid's gonna be someone. We're gonna watch him for a while.
It's pretty cool, and it's been fun to see what the U is doing with all this young talent. And again, we had Isabella McCauley on the show last week, future gopher. Had one more fun story about her. She actually played one of her practice rounds. She played 1 hole with Michelle Wee, and Michelle Wee's husband, Johnny West, Jerry West's son, was caddying, so she got to meet them on one of the holes at the Olympic Club. So a pretty cool experience there, and just for her, to learn all these different ways that tour players are doing it, and what her future could look like. It's pretty cool. So a lot of good things happening in Minnesota golf and at the U of M as well. And speaking of which, we'll have her sister Reese is a freshman trying to win the state tournament this week. Biggest competition will probably be Catherine Van Aragon, who's a sophomore. And again, both of these players have might possibly be future gophers. So we could do some really cool things at the U for both men's and women's golf coming up here. And they are playing the state tournaments this week. So hopefully it cools down a little bit for the kids. If they're out at bunker, maybe after what is it, Brandy? 4 East. Maybe they could just go jump in the wave pool quick after that.
Right.
Hole out for birdie on 4. The short par 5. Make your 2-putt birdie and then dip in quick and then go back to the 5th tee. It's kind of a fun, crazy time of year. A lot going on, a lot of events, and again, it's just been boiling hot here. So hopefully it cools down a bit. Hopefully just get some rain and kind of work some of this stuff through. From a local perspective, in addition, businesses that we've supported this week. So I know Brandy's chomping at the bit to get to his, but before he goes, I want to talk. Actually, was involved in the Minnesota Vikings do their big foundation event every year at the Meadows at Mystic Lake. So very cool facility, sponsor of the show. Just an awesome golf course, very unique. Some interesting hole designs, a lot of fun, different shots. Not a boring golf course. And we were out there raising money for a really good cause with the foundation. And all of the regular players of the Vikings were not able to play due to COVID protocols from the league, but they were able to have legends out there. So I had like 25 or 30 former Vikings players out there. So you had Tommy Kramer, Randall McDaniel, all sorts of fun, Vikings favorites over the years, and a very cool cause. So that's the local plug for me. Brandy, what do you got?
So here's what I've got, because it's cabin season, and I'm going to go up to my parents' cabin this weekend. My brother-in-law, through COVID, decided, hey, why not? I'm bored. Let's go start a hat company. So he started a company called Red Rambler Hats. Red Rambler is actually the road that my parents' cabin is on. It's a pretty cool idea. He wanted something that wouldn't be any kind of conversation starter. No brewery, no brand, no team, no cute saying, just a comfortable hat with a cool design. I've been wearing one this entire night. Go check out redramblerhats.com. They're simple, they're comfortable, simplistic. He's got some great deals on them. They're awesome. So redramblerhats.com is my local plug for the week. I also did go to Collins last night. Collins was awesome.
No, that's that's awesome. And again, before Jarrett jumps in, I did want to acknowledge that David obviously saw the ad and the plug last week from Isabella McCauley, the 17-year-old that schooled us. So he knew he needed to step it up a notch this night. And you crushed it, Brandy.
Dude, she killed us last week on this.
She's so good. I looked up the brand. The brand is actually Abendroth.com. So Abendroth.com, and it's a female golf pro that's got her own pant company. And apparently they're very comfortable pants. She just was featured, I believe, in Golf Digest. So if you Google it, Abendroth.com was the brand that Isabella was talking about. And that's very cool. Cool to see entrepreneurs going on.
Brad, you realize she outplugged us in everything we've ever done for a local business?
Yeah. And the sad part is that we didn't even get to the golf course yet. So like she's
right.
She's already beat us at everything else that we're supposed to be good at, and then we get to the golf course. Now she's got to give us 15 shots each. It's per 9. Yep. This kid's gonna do some big things. It's pretty cool. All right, Jarrett, what do you got for local businesses besides Jarrett Yalen with Northwestern Mutual? What else you got for local businesses?
I was actually about to say, the way that Brandy just read that the redramblerhat.com spot, I mean, you should just start reading on. There's a real future. Like, if the whole director of instruction at TPC thing doesn't work out, you can literally go do some voiceover spots for reading these promos. Like, that was great. Great job. You know what? A couple of quick golf shout outs. I tried to jump on for this Friday locally. I tried to jump on and get a tee time at Keller Golf Course. Man, that place fills up so quick. They've got an amazing waiting list for their men's league. But it was 2014 best municipal redesign renovation in the country. So we've got a really special course in Keller here in the Twin Cities, hosted the 1932-1954 PGA Championship. Big shout out to the guys at Inverwood Golf Course. That's my home course. I spent 4 years at Minnesota Valley Country Club. It was amazing. Inverwood is right down the street from me, like 7 minutes, though. And with my kids now involved in junior golf and wanting to play more, Inverwood's a perfect spot. They got 27 holes, and the first 6 Fridays in the summer, they have a junior golf clinic for free. No registration required. No, it doesn't cost anything. You just come up at 9 a.m. and they split the kids into 2 groups. One group goes down and putts and chips, and the other group goes to the driving range. They do it for 45 minutes, and then they switch them. And listen, I've got 3 kids, 10, 7, and 4, and my 10-year-old, like, trying to engage him sometimes on what he likes and what he doesn't like. You can get the eye roll or something, but I came in and I go, "Hey, buddy, how was it?" And he goes, "I loved it." I love hearing that. I think it's so incredible. And so shout out to the pros and the staff at Inverwood Golf Course for running a really, really great junior program and growing the game that way. My business, Brandy, Wednesday, I ate lunch at a Mexican joint in Edina called El Camino Taco Deli. They got a spot in Edina and Burnsville.
Sounds amazing.
The Raja salsa is roasted poblano and jalapeno peppers, garlic, and onions. Listen, Chili's doesn't even have a spot in the top 10 in my book. Okay?
No, come on.
No, I'm telling you, man.
No.
If you want good...
Chili's is like, it's number... No, come on. Not
tell you
even
what,
top 10?
We should just do a taste test of Applebee's and Chili's if you're going to go down that route. I mean, to be perfectly honest. But El Camino Taco Deli in Edina, I went there. I had the street tacos. I had chips and salsa. And the chips were like actually a little seasoned, which was awesome. But the Raja salsa like hits right in the middle of spiciness. I didn't want to light myself on fire, in between the lunch hour at work. So El Camino, Edina Centennial Lake Shopping Center.
That is awesome.
Oh my god!
You
guys got to hold on for 1 second here.
He's going to bring back the jar of Tostitos salsa. Watch this. Like he's going to go with the stuff right off the shelf.
Not only did Yalen make a nice plug for El Camino, he also found a way to smash Brandy in the face about Chili's. It's kind of a 2-for-1 there. Really, you set yourself up nice, Jarrett. That was impressive. I think David is going to be rejoining us shortly here, and I have to assume maybe he's with Club Pro Guy. Maybe he's got a Mazda Miata. I'm not sure what's happening. Oh, Mateo's.
Mateo's salsa. This is straight out Costco. This is the bomb. This is...
I just wonder, we're supposed to be supporting local businesses, and the best Brandy can give us is Chili's and Costco. I don't know if he fully gets it yet.
Hey, I supported a hat company tonight, and
so where would Brandy eat?
Now I'm just arguing my salsa content.
Yeah,
Mateo's, fresh out of Costco.
You asked him where he would go if he went to the U.S. Open at Torrey Pines. Like, okay, he might be going through In-N-Out Burger on the drive-through right after he gets the rental car at the airport. But every night you're going to find him right at the bar at Chili's with all the other hall pass guys.
I'm telling you. David Branstad might be Club Pro Guy. He's gonna have a Mazda Miata rental car. He's gonna be set up at Chili's. Maybe Tani Ray is gonna be
the custom linked hat from RedRambler.com.
Oh man, that is fantastic. Well, Jarrett, thank you so much for coming on and spending time with us, and thank you so much for everything you do for the show. We really appreciate it. We'd love to thank our other sponsors as well, PXG and Corona Premier. You can connect with us as always via email at 10kswings@scorenorth.com. Please subscribe to our show wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Score North, and give us a 5-star rating. For episode 17, we'll be back with Phil Mackey to break down the U.S. Open. Until next week, friends, I'm Brad Cole.
I'm David Branstad.
Cheers.